On air. We're live on air now. Hi, my name is Sunny Cadwallader, Cad Chica on Twitter, and I'm here with my friend Jamie Lynn Morgan. And say hi, Jamie.
Hello.
And Jamie has been my guinea pig. I wanted to start learning how to host a Google Plus Hangout, and met Jamie the other day, and I said, "We need to do this. Help me!" And Jamie was kind enough to say yes, or she was a glutton for punishment. I haven't quite figured out which one, but just we were hoping for a few more people, so they still may join. It's about dinner time here. I'm in Spokane, Washington, and Jamie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, well, I am Jamie Lynn Morgan, and my Twitter handle is Rusty Rider Girl, and that comes from my love of riding bicycles, slow, not a fast racer, and the combination with craft beer. So that's where that comes from. And I am joining from Hayden, Idaho. So this is kind of fun because I've been in a few other chats, but it's always great to get to know it a little bit better, hence the crown on my head. Did not even know you could do that.
You are a princess for the day. You are a princess of the hangout today. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about, because you are kind of like a go-to person. I think we met 2 years ago this month at a tweet up here in Spokane, and you've kind of been my sounding board a lot for different parts of social media. Why don't you tell people a little bit about the social media that you do, and just take it from there.
All right. Yes, I remember that. I think it was actually, wasn't it the comet tweet up that we did where it was going to be the
Yes,
end of the world? Yes,
it was the asteroid tweet up. That's what it was.
that's right. It was going to be our last drink ever. And luckily it wasn't, but anyway, no, I started this. So I own my own company, and I started about 6 years ago. It will be my anniversary will actually be the end of this year. It'll be 6 years exactly.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and so I started it basically because my husband had a partner for a long time, in his own business. He does heating and air conditioning, and they split that partnership. And it was one of those deals where, okay, now we have a budget of zero. How are we going to market this company? So what we did is, I did some research, and I just realized, hey, there are all these online tools. And at the time, people were really not really using Facebook. Twitter was out there, but they weren't really using it for business purposes. But once I got started, then I noticed, all right, yes, this is a viable tool. We got the Google listing set up. And so, long story short, from that, I had other people approach me and say, hey, we see what you're doing for him. Could you do that for us? And
Wow.
so I've built that into just a business, and so I have clients that I've had now for 4 years that just continually just pay me every month, which is awesome. I love being paid.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially for something that you love to do, and it is something that I became passionate about, and I just saw that it was definitely a viable way that businesses could promote themselves. And I love being a resource for other people. That's supposed to be what this is. It's this social. So
Right.
socially, you need to be sharing. So, and that's been my philosophy from the beginning.
What so do do you span across all platforms, or are there certain ones that you use more, or
Probably what it is, it really depends on the business. So I think that, definitely the big ones, Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus, those are my three that, for any client, we can pretty much adapt that to work for any of them. It's just what we're posting and how we're using it. And
right?
then things like Pinterest and things like that come into play for certain businesses. Everybody says, oh, they can be adapted for anybody. Well, not really. There's just, pictures of food work great. So, I work for a lot of different restaurants. That
Food is
works
great with
great.
me.
Exactly. You can post recipes, things like that. But as far as with my husband's business, it's one of those things we can use it, but it'd be more of a how-to video type thing. And, so we just haven't delved into it a lot because we just, we post them to YouTube and they seem to do fine there.
Right.
So, yeah. But, it's one of those things where you find different resources for different clients that maybe you're going to work better than another. And it always comes back to, do they have a website? Which in this area, you know, may or may not have one.
Right. Has the Inland Northwest kind of been a little bit slow to jump on the social media bandwagon, or have you found a lot of receptive people aside from those early clients?
It's been kind of it's an uphill battle. I think people are realizing it now. I think that more and more people now are like, okay, we need to use this. Number one, it's more cost effective to use our dollars to either pay someone else to do this or hire someone else to do
Right.
this than we're putting all that money into Yellow Pages or into maybe some of the print advertising that they didn't even measure how that worked. So I see it, but it's still hysterical because I think Spokane is a little bit further ahead than over here. Because people over here, when I mention Twitter, you should see the looks on their faces. It's almost like I'm, asking them to, kill their puppy or something. They're like, "What?
Oh no.
Why would I do that?"
Oh, North Idaho.
I know.
Little slow to get on the social media train.
Yes, because most people get Facebook because they're probably using it personally anyway, so they
Right.
can transition that into the business. But with Twitter, they just don't understand. But for me, it's one of my favorite tools. I'm kind of, Google Plus is becoming something that, I'm in it a little bit more than I am on Facebook. But
Yep.
Twitter is always my main. I spend more time on Twitter than any other network.
Right. Right. um, and I just lost my train of thought. Um, what you work with Idaho Tourism, is that right? Or North Idaho?
It's the North Idaho Tourism, yeah.
Okay. What are are you getting a lot of input or feedback or questions from, is it just from around the Northwest, United States, or are you getting worldwide kind of feedback as well?
With those guys, we've tapped into a worldwide market. It's not quite as large as the U.S., so most of our requests are coming from people within the United States. We're noticing a lot more from back east. Before it was kind of that, we call it in tourism, it's the rubber tire market. So that's anything within 500 miles that someone could drive, spend the weekend, and then drive home. And that's usually where a lot of our requests would come from. But we're seeing now a lot from back east. And then it's kind of weird, but our biggest market has actually been Slavic and other things that have been overseas, Italy and things
Oh,
like
wow.
that. So it's been interesting.
What kind of questions are you getting? Are they looking to visit or
Yeah,
just information?
looking to visit mostly,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
funny because a lot of them still think that Montana and Idaho, that we're all still cowboys. They do. I get that question. It's like, do you have cities? Are we going to be able to shop? And it's like,
You're on
yeah.
social media, but you're a cowboy?
It's like we don't all just hunt and live in caves. We do have stop signs and stores.
Now, is a lot of it centered around Coeur d'Alene itself or just the region as a whole?
Mostly Coeur d'Alene, just because it's the most recognizable. Coeur d'Alene does a whole lot to promote this area with the resort and with Silverwood and those things.
Right.
So, they're out there more. But what's nice is that once they, put in the request for that, what I can do is I put together a package that then shows them Wallace, shows them Bonners Ferry, Priest River, Priest Lake, these outside areas that are
Right.
gorgeous and have a lot to, offer, but they just haven't heard of them.
Well, that's great though. I mean, the way social media has just kind of broken down barriers in a myriad of topics or whatever. That's what's been so great about using social media is just the division lines are just obliterated between country and country, state and state, and I think that's what's so cool about it. That's what's so cool about it.
Oh, it is. Well, and tell a little bit more about what you do because I know you have the sports aspect and I'm not the sports person.
Well, I have one more question for you. So
All right, one more question and then you have to
you're
speak.
not getting out of this, Jamie.
All right.
I want it. I mean, the title of this chat is INW Inland Northwest Chat. So I want to at least talk about the Inland Northwest.
Perfect.
What is? I mean, because you've traveled a lot for the North Idaho Tourism. For what's the name of your beer blog?
So it's Bicycle Bites is the name of the beer blog, yeah.
Right. So you've traveled for that a lot. You've seen a lot of places in the Northwest. What is your favorite spot?
Oh, see, that's tough because each one of them has its own reason for why it would be my favorite spot.
Well, you can go on. You can explain that. For
Yes. Well,
beer, it would be.
right. So really for me is it all has to do with because I do, for the dining out stuff that I do for my beer blog and then just for the tourism aspect, I try to encompass all of those. And so when I travel, I look for those pieces. It's the food, it's the craft beer, and it's the attractions that maybe, everybody doesn't know about. So there, I mean, off the
Right.
wall places like, you're traveling over to Seattle and you just jump off the interstate and it's like normally you stop at the places that you see. Well, I always drive like inward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and just to find, and you can find some interesting little restaurants, mom and pop shops, and so that's where each one of those little places have that, and even Spokane, you can find that. There are the main places that you go, but when you wander and kind of go into the neighborhoods and get to know some of the people, you'd be amazed what you will find.
Well, as long as you go into the right neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Don't want to
Yes.
go into the wrong neighborhoods in Spokane.
No, no, I've done that before, and actually, it was because of Apple and Siri. She was almost in trouble.
Oh,
Sent me
no.
into, I'm like asking for directions somewhere, and she sent me into some warehouse district, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, really don't think we're where we're supposed to be.
So you
So,
hit Spokompton then.
yes, oh yes, I was in Scarywood,
For those
and
who
not the
don't
good
know,
one.
if you're watching out there, locals around here kind of joke about Spokane by calling it Spokompton. Whether it's not comparable to Compton, but that's just a joke around here. So that's why I said that.
Yeah, don't worry.
So you don't have one particular spot that you like, but what are say your top five in no particular order?
So probably my top five would be the Portland, Oregon, that area around there. So I love that area.
Yep.
Obviously, our Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, that whole corridor here.
Right.
And then I had an opportunity to actually go to Colorado, and I was in Boulder and a lot of the places over there.
Right.
And I would probably say that's definitely in my top five. And then I'm from Montana, so if I forgot them somehow in all of this, I would probably never hear the end of it. So they've got to be in my top five. And then
Okay.
recently, yeah, I had a chance to actually go down to Boise, which it's odd. People are like, "You live in Idaho, you've never been to Boise?" It's like 8 hours away. It's not
Yes.
like it's next door.
Idaho is big.
Exactly, yes. So I really enjoyed Boise. So if I had to, I would probably say Boise, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Boulder, and then Portland would be my top five.
Is there a place you haven't gone yet that you want to go to?
Let's see, place I haven't gone yet. Probably because I've been through Bend, Oregon, but I
Mhm.
haven't actually stopped. So I think probably going to that area I think it'd be fun. And I lived in Seattle, so it's not making my top five, but it is in my top 10.
Yeah, I think there might be some people who might not, who are probably saying, "What? No Seattle?"
I know they probably are. They're like, "What?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, it's okay. It's in my top 10."
It would be on the Inland Northwest tour, kind of like The Voice or
Exactly.
American Idol. Top
That's
10.
right.
Top 10 is good. Okay, you can ask your question. I'm better at asking questions than answering questions, Jamie. You should know this, but you can ask one question.
All right. Well, see, because we're getting close to the end of the time, so you can use up the last 10 minutes we got. I think is what
Oh,
it is.
great. I'll come up
No,
with
but
some more for you.
no, it's just because when we first met, it was you had just started kind of getting into all of this, and you had a huge focus on sports, and I think you do an awesome job with
Thank
it because I'm not even a sports person, but I can follow you and then tell people that I know stuff, and they believe me. They're like, "Really, you watched that?" I'm like, "No, I didn't watch that."
I
But
have that
that'd
effect
be good.
on people for some reason.
Exactly. So just tell me kind of, how you got that started and, where you're headed now, because I know you have some, irons in the fire. You don't have to tell them, out here on the chat to everybody, but just a general idea works.
Yes, Mom. Um, my story is kind of funny in a way because I got on Twitter back in 2009, and it was not for sports in any way, shape, or form. I started it on Twitter because of online shopping deals. It was getting close. I started in August 2009, and I saw that Black Friday Deals had a Twitter account. And so I hate going shopping, absolutely detest going out shopping, but I do like online shopping, so I started following that. Kind of was off and on with Twitter, and then I just started seeing some sports people on there. Discovered TweetDeck, discovered Twitter lists, and I am like the queen of lists. um, and the rest is history. I mean, I would tweet and retweet information to people. People discovered me, the content that I was sharing, and I gained followers in the sports industry, you know, like CBS, Fox, ESPN. I mean, some real heavy hitters started following me, and I'm thinking, what in the heck is going on? And I realized that there was something to it. So it was really in 2010 that I started heavy hitting on the sports curation, sports content. It's led me to jobs that I had at ESPN and a local station here in Spokane. I have one job coming up, cross your fingers, hopefully soon, that I can't talk about yet. But I also do some social media for a U.S. Latino-based sports website, it's a labor of love is kind of how we put it, because there's a niche, there's a segment of the U.S. Latino population that is not completely being served, and so I kind of am jumping in with that a little bit, but it's been fun. I mean, I no longer work at my old job back that I had in 2009. I'm a full-fledged sports media journalist, if you will. I mean, I don't necessarily have the degree, but I mean, other journalists have called me a journalist, so I'm going with it. You know, but I'm an observer on social media. I am able to see things that I've never seen before. You're exposed to things that you've never seen before. You learn a lot about the media through Twitter and Facebook and now Google Plus, and it's been a fascinating road. So there you go. I talked 4 minutes. There you go.
Hey, that's perfect. I love it. 4 minutes is good. No, I just think, you know, and you do have the right to call yourself a journalist. And I know that, you know, some true journalists that have been in it a long time would debate that, but we're all journalists now. I don't care, you know, who you are. You could be the mommy crafter who's sitting at home and, you know, Fiskars contacts you because they want you to use their scissors, you know. I mean, and now she becomes this, you know, brand ambassador for Fiskars scissors. I mean, so it can happen now, and so I think that, you know, the old ways and old phrases for media and other things, you know, you're going to see them changing. You know, new words like, you know, selfie, whoever, you know, I'm seriously.
It's much better than twerking, that's for sure.
Yeah, no twerking.
No twerking, just selfie. Well, I mean, a hangout is kind of like an ongoing selfie of yourself, you know.
It kind of is. All right, you got me on that one.
It really is. But no, I mean I mean, I do back it up. I mean, I'm not just doing tweets or retweets. I'm writing about it as well. I mean, I started my blog in 2011, and I was writing about sports and Twitter, and I was using tweets in my blogs back then before it became commonplace now. So, I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm on Twitter so much that I'm able to see the potentials of how it can be used or how it can be reported or the things that might be taking off. And that's kind of why I wanted to do these hangouts, because I really think that it's underutilized in the sports world, the sports media world. Yes, there are hangouts and sports teams are using it, but there's so much potential with these hangouts, especially for connection with the fans, you know, whether it's teams or athletes. So much potential there to just knock down another barrier, and that's kind of why I'm kind of leaning, tiptoeing, dipping my toe into the Google Plus Hangout sphere.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a good idea because that is, and I think that's what it has to do with those of us that, 2008, 2009,
Yeah,
that have been using some of this technology. I think we do have an advantage over some of the marketers that they've, tried and true stuff that's been working for them forever is not working anymore, but they're just getting into social media
yeah,
and we can see it. We see the waves. We see because we've been doing it. And
yeah,
so I think we're going to have an advantage over some people that are just getting into it now because some of these waves are cresting right now. They're
yeah.
not, and they're not going to see that because they won't know there was a lull. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been eye-opening, needless to say. But I mean, the benefit is you get to meet people that you never would have met in real life. Probably you can connect people to people in other countries. I mean, I've done a Q&A with someone from Australia, so it's like it's it, it's just such an eye-opening thing for people when they get involved in social media and if they use it the right way. I mean, that's really what it's about. And like with you, you can share things about North Idaho and the good things about North Idaho as opposed to what people have heard in the past, that reputation. And do you run into that still? I mean, at all, the reputation that North Idaho has nationally, maybe?
Oh no. Oh, you do. And it has a lot to do with, I mean, that's what's been put out about us. That's what's made national news. The good things about North Idaho don't make the national news. It's, the wolf hunts, it's the, Aryan nations
Yeah.
here and, and it's Hayden, Idaho, which is where I live. That's where their, base camp was. But what wasn't reported is the fact that there were like 12 of them. There
Yeah.
are more of them, in other states than there were here. Even their compound was not a compound. It was, a guy's house that he attached a garage that had a church in it. So it's just those things that I can have the opportunity to educate people about and say,
Yeah.
hey, no, come to North Idaho. This is what we're really about. You're gonna, you ask somebody sitting at the bar where to go eat or whatever, they're gonna tell you. It's not, there's no threatening thing that you have to worry about coming to North Idaho. We don't have any pitchforks.
And on that note, no pitchforks in North Idaho. But on that note, thank you, Jamie. I'm sorry we didn't get everybody else joined in, but thanks for being my guinea pig on Google Plus Hangouts, and follow Jamie on Twitter at
Rusty Rider Girl.
And your blog is
BicycleBites.com.
cool. Anything else you'd like to? I mean, you're all over the place, but anything else you'd like to throw out there?
I don't think so. I think if they follow the blog and they follow that, they'll get the gist of who I am and figure out that I might be crazy.
You're all over the place.
But they're going to see, the people that missed out on this are going to see this and be all jealous. So we'll have more people next time.
We're going to have to do this again because this was fun,
Yes.
and we'll actually get more people on next time. So
Exactly. Yes.
thanks, Jamie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sunny. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.